Today I fucked up by playing my little brother's gaming console. It was a regular, stressful day. Worked 9-5 and spent all of those hours scrambling around my fluorescent hellscape trying to meet an impossible deadline for a project that got put on my desk. By the time I leave, I am exhausted. But my little brother asks if I want to go to GameStop. Hell yeah I do. I pick him up and we drive. He ends up buying an Xbox. He had been looking for a deal on the Series 10 for a while now. But that's not the console that ruined my night. When we get home he is so stoked, has the system set up within 20 minutes and is downloading games. I, tired and a little jealous, tell him to enjoy it while he is still young. His biggest worry is which version of Plants vs. Zombies to download from Game Pass. Hey, I'm gonna be pretty occupied with the Xbox for a while, why don't you take my Oculus? I haven't been using it recently anyways. Not really my thing, but I'll humor him. Maybe if I play it we'll have more to talk about? I say good night and get home, take a well-needed shower, and plop onto bed. Laying there, bored out of my mind and not quite tired yet, I look over at the Oculus box. Look away. Look at the ceiling. Look at the joint I haven't smoked yet. Look back at the Oculus box. Fuck it, I say to myself. I didn't plan on playing it tonight, but it's been a long day. Getting high and playing VR sounds like a cool experience. I deserve this. I don't smoke weed often. I have a very low tolerance and have had some paranoia with it in the past. But I had just bought an indica CBD mixture that I was told is very mellow in hopes it would help me relax. I light up, take a few puffs, and put on the headset. I'm greeted with a desert landscape. I think there was a waterfall in the distance. It was beautiful honestly. I was amazed at how real it felt. The first game I see is VR Chat. I didn't recognize any of the other titles, and felt like socializing a little bit so I figured it was the best choice. As soon as I open the game, I'm messing with the controls, trying to figure out what I'm working with, and get to the character section. He has a Meowth avatar at the moment. I look at the selection. Oh, cool, it's a dragon. I click. This dragon has the fattest ass I have ever seen. On to the next one. Isabelle from Animal Crossing, with huge tits and her tongue sticking out. Why would they do that to her? I keep scrolling and selecting avatars. It gets worse the further I scroll. They're all furries. I go to look at the world selection. Heavy R furries, Furry Peepshow, Kitten Club XXX, and his profiles, about me. Yeah, he definitely plays this game one-handed. At this point I am violently high, a little weirded out, and so done with this day. Too long did not read. My brother lent me his Oculus headset and I found an ungodly amount of not safe for work furry content on VR Chat. Edit for run on sentences. I saw Oculus and knew immediately edit. Well, I expected something less furry and more sexy. Yeah, he definitely plays this game one-handed. I fucking lost it when I read this. Hardest I have laughed in a while. Not to ruin your day further, but I have a feeling there might be some Plants vs. Zombies porn on that Oculus soon. What a roller coaster. At first I thought, he's gonna find porn. But then you mentioned paranoia and a dragon so I thought, oh he's going to have a bad trip in there. But then your beautiful pervert of a brother gave us all a fur-covered happy ending with furry porn. 10 out of 10 would read again. In my head your brother is like 9 years old and I'm really hoping I'm wrong about that grimace. I'd like to see some of this for research purposes. Today I fucked up by getting interviewed by the neighbor I've been lying to. This has been going on for a while, mostly benign, but it came to a head this afternoon and I can't help but laugh. For context, I am not deaf but my brother and uncle are, so I have learned ASL in order to speak with them, names changed, yada yada. Okay, now for the story. Back in 2019 my wife and I moved to a neighborhood in the suburbs of local city, as I'd just gotten a pretty substantial job offering with a tech company the year prior and had been able to get a place for us. The place we moved into had a shared backyard with neighbors on either side. These weren't big yards either, but it was nice to not have fences to box you into your tiny yard when you sat outside. This worked out better than we expected as one neighbor, we'll call him Frank, was retired and enjoyed tending to the shared yard and could often be found outside tending to weeds or mowing the lawn for everyone. I'd help in kind with things as I could, and generally we got along great. Until Frank died during the pandemic. By this point I'd started working from home and stopped seeing anybody other than the wife and occasional family and Frank. And honestly I'd really grown to like not interacting with many people. So after Frank's kid sold off his home I really had no reason to engage with the new neighbor. But I did have to tend to my own lawn. And I really didn't. I'd heard through the grapevine that the new neighbor was kind of a dick, and often tried to get people to do things his way. So I made an effort to avoid him. I ignored his knocking at my door and dodging his walks. It took a few months, but eventually the new neighbor, we'll call him Dave, caught me outside and flagged me down to come tell me I needed to deal with my lawn. I stood there like a deer in the headlights because I couldn't believe the audacity of this guy, even though I knew he was going to ask. But I'd obviously taken too long to respond to him because he said, rather abruptly, "Are you deaf or something?" And for whatever fucking reason I just rolled with it and started to sign at him and said in the same way my brother would, "I'm deaf." Dave was not too pleased about that and proceeded to over-articulate, shout at me, "Mow your lawn," which I feigned understanding and deaf moaned an "I will" at him, and so he was off my back. This continued on for a ton of things, and Dave, while a dick, made an actual effort to learn some ASL to communicate his will upon me. Things like needing to bring the cans in faster after garbage day, or let me know he was having painters come around and, if I wanted to get my house done as well. When I did it the first time I figured it would be a one-off joke we could laugh about later, but it honestly got him off my back to have him feel like he had to learn a new language to tell me things he wanted. And when he did want to tell me to do shit, it was always an effort that I could respect and appreciate. But it just went on for so long that I couldn't stop it anymore. Both my wife and brother thought it was hilarious, and since my wife is a nurse she always would tell him when he asked for stuff to go ask Phototalk. He's always home, she never actually deal with him. So skip forward another year and a bit and I'm looking for new work. My old work is trying to bring everyone back to the office and I've grown quite fond of the WFH lifestyle. So I start applying and getting interviews, and generally just checking things out with a few places to see what will work for me, and then I get a smokin' opportunity. 30% bump in pay, huge benefits, lots of vacation, the works. I was ecstatic because with all that it was still WFH. I jumped through the preliminary hoops and got past my initial interview to book my second, in-person interview, just inside the city at their local office. I get dressed up for the first time in literally years to look nice and head in for the interview, and as I get called into the boardroom I am met with Dave's face, looking oh so puzzled at me. My heart is pounding and I can feel my face flush as he cautiously asks me to sit across from him, which I of course do. He asks me a series of questions related to the job, expectations, etc. And for a while there I don't know if he knows, but he knew I didn't know he knew, and at the end of the interview he let me know they'd be in touch, and as I was leaving, palm sweaty, he says to me, "Let me know if you need to borrow my mower. Your lawn is getting untidy again." So I knew for sure he knew, and I don't think I'm getting the job. And #X200B. Too long did not read. New neighbor is a dick. Pretend I am deaf so I don't have to interact with him. Go looking for new job and find out he's the interviewer for the position. He very tactfully calls me the fuck out. One neighbor reported me for having weeds during monsoon season when my wife had been in the hospital for a week. I read the city codes and weeds and grass have to be under 8 inches tall. To this day during monsoon I maintain my entire yard of foxtails at about 7 inches tall. Complaints have been filed, but I am within the city code. Don't be a dick neighbor, because I will be an even bigger dick. If you leave me alone, you don't even know I exist. We are quiet and we keep to ourselves, and outside of this one thing, we always maintain our yard. Bullet dodged. You don't want to work with a dick. Oh my word. I would have had the worst time concentrating during that interview. Well, honestly. Do you want a coworker or boss to be your neighbor? Super yucky. Seems to me he'd have known before you got there. Your address would be on your application somewhere. Re-wild your garden. Sounds fictitious. I have a neighbor across the street, and the first and only time I ever spoke to him was him telling me how I should park next time if I want to park front of his house. It was easier than playing deaf. This is like something that would happen to George Constanza. Lol. To just walk away and never acknowledge him again, and I'd have ended up working for the motherfucker because I have no recollection what he even looks like. Today I fucked up by thinking I was depressed. I just came to this realization yesterday. I'm on mobile, so forgive me for the format. For the past 6 weeks, my mental health was steadily declining. I was having a lot of car issues right around when it started. I commuted over an hour away from home, and I attributed those feelings to that. Since then, I got my dream job and the commute is less than 10 minutes. My car issues have been fixed, and I got the apartment I've been dreaming of for months. I should have been ecstatic. Instead, for 6 weeks, I have not cleaned my room or detangled my hair. I would just wash my hair and put it back in a bun. I had no energy to do anything. I would get home and just lay in bed until it was time to sleep. I kept asking myself, why am I not happy right now? I got sick a few days ago. One of my friends suggested getting a probiotic to help the situation, so I went to the pharmacy 2 days ago. There I saw this multivitamin I've been taking since last year. I had ran out of it like 2 months ago, but I figured I had another bottle somewhere and just couldn't find it. I never bought another and just stopped taking them. Took it once I got home. Yesterday I felt like a new woman. I had all this energy and felt amazing. I was able to wash my hair and detangle it, finally. Then it dawned on me. It was the damn multivitamins. I know they don't work for everyone, but I tend to be on the anemic side. They really do make all the difference for me. Friends, learn from me and make sure you're taking your vitamins. Or acquiring them somehow. It really does make a difference. Too long did not read. I thought I was so depressed because I wasn't taking care of myself, and couldn't figure out why that was since all of the good things were happening in my life. Turns out I just needed some vitamins in my system. ETA. There's a difference between having depression symptoms and being diagnosed with major depressive disorder. A lot of illnesses have the same symptoms but different treatments. I never said I was diagnosed with depression, and I never said the cure for depression is multivitamins. There are a multitude of reasons, medical or situational, why people could feel depressed. Mine just so happens to be a lack of vitamins. People can feel depressed and not have depression. Wish I could cure my depression with multivitamins too, haha. I have no history of depression, but a few years ago I started having symptoms like one. To the extent that I was prescribed anti-anxiety medicines. But it came and went, and sometimes I'm perfectly stable for weeks without any meds and doctors would say that no, I don't have depression. Then one day I started contemplating jumping out of the balcony while also rarely able to stop crying for 3 days straight. Then suddenly it's all gone again. Turned out I have PMDD, premenstrual dysphoric disorder. And sudden onset of severe, and I mean severe, mood swings was just part of the package. I hope this helped you guys out there too. Maybe it's not depression. Maybe it's just lack of vitamins. Or maybe it's your uterus trying to kill you. Are you eating well enough if multivitamins make that much of a difference? Healthy, balanced meals should do the same. There's a lot of news about supplements being a waste, and largely they are. Most multivitamins in particular are underdosed indigestible garbage that your body flushes out rather than use. Studies always look at lifespan and cancer, etc., but I don't think that's the right metric. The studies don't and can't look at all the factors. Vitamin D and B deficiencies can actually affect your mood. D in particular helps some hormone regulation, and if a supplement helps, it helps. If you don't notice a difference, don't bother taking it. Food is better. Sunshine is better, sure. But sometimes you can't eat enough of a particular food to get your levels up for whatever reason. Blood testing let you know, and a supplement can actually help. I just found out that I don't make vitamin D. My blood work showed my level was 15 when most people are around 100. Started taking a vitamin D supplement as per my doctor and I'm getting better. I was also very anemic throughout and for a while after my pregnancy. Iron deficiency is no joke. It wipes you out. I also take a multivitamin for my depression, it's called Lexapro, J. Today I fucked up telling my girlfriend I screwed my friend. Throwaway. My 23M girlfriend 23F of 3 years and I were invited by the friend group to go out last night. She declined stating she wanted to stay in and told me to go have fun. I told her I'd be home by 11 p.m. We stayed out partying, having a fire and talking. However, once I got home far too drunk and tired but coherent. I allegedly told her how I screwed our mutual friend before promptly falling asleep. This is not how I remember this conversation. This morning I woke up to my girlfriend plus her stuff gone, and I don't want to see or hear from you ever again, text message. When I reached out to mutual friends, everyone was mad at me for cheating on her. Cue my confusion. I didn't cheat on her. I tried explaining myself but nobody would listen. I tried reaching out to her but my phone number was blocked. Also found out I've been removed from almost all the group chats we had. I finally sent a text to her brother saying, "This is what I meant when I said I screwed insert friend's name," with a video of me finding a screw on the ground and absolutely drilling it into my mate's arm. He called me confused and I explained everything to him. How I told her that night, "My love, I have the best pun for you. Look at this, I screwed our friend," while pulling up the video. Apparently I fell asleep before my friend had finished sending me the video. He said he'd talk to her for me, and sure enough, a few hours later she called me apologizing. I told her that she turned all of our friends against me without hearing the pun, and she said she thought I was drunk and joking about the pun. Which I was drunk but not joking about the pun. She told me she didn't want to tell our friend group that she had mistook my words because it was embarrassing. She didn't want to tell everyone that I wasn't a cheater out of embarrassment. I sent the same text with the video to all of our friends, including the ones at the party. I also sent further screenshots of her saying she didn't want to admit I wasn't a cheater. Most apologized, some said it was my fault. Maybe it is. My issue isn't her being upset about the pun, it's the fact that she wouldn't admit I wasn't a cheater. So that's how my entire relationship dissolved over a pun. Too long did not read. Told my girlfriend I had a pun to show her, fell asleep before my mate sent the video, and she left before I could show her the video of said pun. Accused me of cheating and pit our entire friend group against me. If this is how she's ending a 3-year relationship, there has to be something else going on. No one napalms their entire life based on a single drunken sentence. Besides the maybe projecting herself cheating on you thing, I think if she does not want to stand by you in a case she threw you under the bus for a somewhat silly mistake, the misunderstanding, I think you dodged a bullet. This would be a ha-ha. Do you remember when you misunderstood story in a few years for the two of you and your friends, but she is not willing to admit that she made a mistake? How would she react in a much more bigger situation? I would not count on her if this happens. 3 years is not something that one wants to just throw away, but if you still want to be with her, make it so she has to solve this situation to your mutual friends, not you. At least you know who your friends are. More like she was looking for an excuse to leave you and finally got it. I'd count that as a win. Someone who'd push you under the bus over a silly misunderstanding like this isn't a good partner and probably would do it over something serious as well. Also, she jumping the guns like that isn't a good indicative of her character neither. As for whose fault it is, yeah, you are somewhat responsible for the misunderstanding, but the fallout is entirely on her. Sounds more like your girlfriend screwed the pooch on this one. You told her it was a pun but fell asleep before the punchline. She didn't consider the 3 years you'd shared, she just packed, left, told all your friends before you woke up the next day. She did you a favor by leaving. Make room for a chick with a sense of humor. Maybe make new friends who will give you the benefit of the doubt and get your side of things. Send a big screw you to them all. Nut and bolt.